if your dreams aren't scary, they're not big enough, right? That sounds cool. And then when it starts happening, it's all good, And so the very things I've been working towards, the very things I've been manifesting, saying I wanted, and now they're all happening. And then I got scared, like, oh no, which is fucking beautiful.
Everybody wants to be a fighter until they get punched in the face.
For real.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hip here with another edition of the Tattoo Guardians podcast. It's a good week. It's been a busy couple weeks. And on this episode, we sit back and do a recap of basically what all has transpired, the blessings, the lessons, and so much more. So sit down, buckle up, and get ready for another edition of the Tattoo Guardians podcast.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back to the Tattoo Guardians podcast. And I'm reunited with my brothers, my co-host, Hip, who's always helping to inspire passion in people, and the legend, Joshua Carlton. Both of you brothers are back with me. I missed both of you last week. It was me and my mentor, Andrew Crozy, last week. I'm so glad to have you guys back with me this week. How are you, brethren?
Good.
Stoked to be back, man. Stoked to be here.
Was it intimidating doing the show by yourself? Or did you feel like there was dead air or anything?
It always is intimidating to me.
But I mean,
and you know what? Because I didn't do the show by myself, but I've had a thought that maybe I was going to until my good brother, Mr. Crozy, decided to join me. And so that switched. It took the pressure off of me doing an episode by myself, but then it was a huge honor and a little bit intimidating to have one of my mentors and coaches on, But it's the old thing that we always say, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And even though this was scary, it means I'm doing something bigger than me, right?
Right.
And I've just pushed the button and hope you listeners enjoyed it.
Well, yeah. I was listening to it on the way here and maybe got 20 minutes of it, and I'm digging it.
Cool.
Yeah. And I think I can stomach it because I don't hear my voice in it. I just, for whatever reason, for our listeners, I do not listen to our podcasts unless Matt or Josh say like, hey, give this one a listen and see what you think. Other than that, I just let that shit go.
You're like the actor that doesn't watch his own movies.
Yeah, I'm just too cool for that, man. I just know that perfection can't be.
Well, it will be funny because I know so many listeners really love you and really love Josh, and some of those that really love you can't stand me. So it'll be curious to see the analytics. This is the one that's just me, got the smallest amount of downloads. Will be fun numbers to see.
Right. I'm about 20 minutes in as well, and I thought it was fucking great.
Oh, good.
And I've seen good feedback. I think it was a nice, refreshing, little bit of a different take. I liked it. I'll finish it for sure.
Good. And if you guys notice, I didn't specify to our audience why you were both out. But I figure we could take a moment right now for you to share with the world. Why weren't you on the show last week, Hip? And where were you? What were you going to say, Josh?
I was just going to say that really it's pretty easy. Mainly Hip and I were just wrestling a lot.
Yeah, on our Sex Panther shit, just moved up body oil and
Greco-Roman wrestling, it takes time. It takes time.
It's something we've been perfecting for a little bit, and I can't believe you even brought that up, Josh, because we were trying to save it for a treat for our big release.
Man, dude, I can't wait to see your uniforms.
There's not a uniform.
Okay.
We are, our main goal really is just changing the definition of scissoring.
Hell yeah. Tight. Man, y'all play Twister with olive oil?
We do.
Yeah.
Virgin olive oil.
Like it. I like it.
But no, it's been a busy besides from the wrestling, it's been a busy two weeks, or going on 2 weeks, because I'm actually leaving again for another convention this weekend.
Wow, that'll be 3 weeks in a row for you.
Yeah, going on. So the 18th was my birthday, and I woke up and was on the go because we had a shop meeting that day. I had a few consults, but I got thrown a curveball because I went to get my hair cut, came back, hurried to rush after our shop meeting. and my stepdaughters, threw me a curveball because they were holding up a sign to ask me to adopt them. And
Man.
I wasn't expecting it. And I almost feel like I probably robbed them of a reaction because I was just like, oh shit. And I am completely fucking honored. And I sent them a message on the way back to work. So it started there. Right. And then that led into, Hell City, which was great and an amazing time, like it always is. There's a lot of people from TBM that showed up to man the booth and drove states away to do so. So that was super dope. And getting to meet some of these people in person is awesome. And then just like setting up and tattooing and having fun and networking. Matt did a seminar Friday for TBM. I wasn't able to attend. I was doing an all-day session with a dope new client. She's a sweetheart, so that was cool. The next day I did a full day session on one of Matt's clients, and he fucking sits like a rock, and he's a sweetheart.
Was this the elephant?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, Mike, if you get a chance, you should put that up. That's a beautiful tattoo, man. Beautiful tattoo.
Thank you. And you, no, go ahead.
I'm seeing some, particularly with this tattoo, you know, and you and I have a lot of conversations about this stuff, but I'm seeing a change. I'm seeing an evolution. Am I right in saying that? Or is it like, do you feel like you did some different stuff maybe?
I did. And the funny thing is like, since you talked about Dennis Savak tattooing you said you looked down and noticed that it was like Fruity Pebbles. And then near the end of it, like, boom, it came together almost at the white highlights. And it's funny because I said white highlights because I put that critique on that fuck your critique. And I've been getting a bunch of good feedback, and one of them is like this: I put a white line in the background, which is supposed to be fuzzed out, and I'm like, damn it, I need to apply more discipline because I knew it shouldn't have been there. But dude, running a white line around something is just fun sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it was a learning experience. But yeah, so like that the bigger elephant was basically done with round shaders for the most part, an 11 round and a 7 round shader. And I was doing it, and it was looking like Rice Krispies kind of, but I didn't know I was doing it. I thought that I needed validation that like, yeah, that's totally how you fucking do it. So the whole time I'm like feeling that I'm going in the right direction, but I don't know, but fuck it. I'm just going to keep staying in the process. Boom, get done. And I have this like thought that like, man, I'm getting, because right after Hell City, I jumped on a plane. I flew to Vegas for the Coalition of Tattoo Safety, and that was a week-long seminar from a bunch of people, one of them being Steve Butcher, who is very familiar with round shaders, if you know his work. So I was looking forward to that. So I was kind of jacked on the adoption, jacked on like these new relationships I built. And then Sunday, I gave myself a chance to like chill and take in the convention, which I oftentimes like to do. I don't like to work Sundays. And I wanted to be there to help Matt for his Sunday TBM seminar. Right. Which, come to find out, fucking one of the TBM students came up to me before you sent me the text message, Matt, and he was like, dude, Russ Abbott's totally taking the seminar. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And then you sent me a screenshot of Russ DMing you saying like he's looking forward to meeting you in person. He's going to be taking the seminar. So we got to take the seminar with Russ Abbott, which was super fucking dope. Totally is a sweetheart, and like the level that he is on and moving towards and continuing to stay in is just like something that is easily identifiable with what all three of us do.
Yeah, I would figure you would click. Both of you would click really well with him. I've known him for a long time, and he's always been such a forward thinker. You know what I mean? Man. He's always doing something, and he's not just saying he's going to do it. He actually follows through, and he does these things, and they're always extra innovative, and extra time and care and attention is spent on them. And I know people like both of you and me as well really appreciate that. So I'm super stoked you guys got to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want me to keep going?
Dave.
Okay. Because there's just so much cool fucking shit.
Well, and you were hopping around. You were your birthday, then your daughter's to Hell City. You went all the way to Vegas and then jumped back to Hell City, which is cool.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna. Just because like, man, there was so much. And you know what's funny is I look at this thing as like it was that season, but in reality, like if I stay in the process and stay in gratitude, every day, every week could be full of this many blessings if I choose to pay attention to them and acknowledge them and stay in the celebration of them.
My God, as if they're always showing up. They're always here around us. It's just, can you see them?
Right. Which that right there was just an epiphany just now. So, I mean, you know, I guess stay in the
Dude,
process more.
It's funny you say that because, you know, I always use the language. I'll say things like, hey, we want to try and bear fruit here, right? And I was talking to one of my coaches one day, and I was like, man, I tried to do this thing or have this conversation, and I wasn't able to really bear any fruit, right? And then my coach stopped me. He's like, cool, Matt, allow yourself to feel that way. And then when you're done thinking that way, I want you to stop and turn around and then ask yourself, okay, where is the fruit? Even after I just got done saying, I didn't bear any. This didn't bear any fruit. He's like, cool, you may think that. Matt, there's always fruit. So even when you don't feel like it, and when you feel like you fucked up, this didn't work out, now turn around and look for it. But where is the fruit? You know? And that's what I think you're speaking to is it's always there, right, if we're looking for it.
Totally. And, you know, this time it was just disguised as tattooing, adoption, you know, which I'm familiar with because I too asked my stepfather to adopt me. So it's all around me. So after he attends the seminar, it's cool. I got his number, super fucking dope. And I flew out Monday to go to Vegas after Hell City, and slapped hands with some people that attended Hell City as well, and TBM alumni. I show up late, and it's funny because like at that point on the plane ride there, I was experiencing Murphy's Law and was just kind of like laughing it off because, like I was saying, like I was doing that elephant with the round shader and wasn't sure if I was doing it right, but fuck it, I'm just gonna keep doing it anyway while holding my cool, you know, making it seem like I know what I'm doing. So I took the time to start thinking about like, what am I really doing here in Vegas? And I'm like, I don't know if like this is like personal discovery. Like what I've basically boiled it down to the question I was asking myself was like, how do I see myself as other people see me? And I didn't know what that looked like or how it was going to present itself. But I get on the plane, bunch of Murphy's Law, show up late. Everybody's messaging me, asking me where I'm at. Carson Hill had a booth there from Numa, and Eli from Numa, his right-hand man. So I was looking forward to meet them. Riley's blowing me up, like, where you at? Where you at? And I was like, I'm not going to be until late Monday morning or Monday night, Tuesday morning, and then I'll be at the first class Tuesday. Land, go through all this bullshit. I'm just laughing it off like to fucking, I thought I was flying first class while I was in a row, the middle seat in coach. I read that book that a bunch of the TBM students steal like an artist, which was good. Then I kind of just had to fucking meditate the rest of the way because I wouldn't get no sleep. There was a dude, and if y'all haven't met me in person, I'm 6'5", 260 pounds, so I'm not small. And there was a gentleman to my left that was equally as big as me, so they like crammed us together. And then I got chatty Karen to the right of me that wants to talk about shit, and I forgot my headphones, so I can't watch fucking TV or anything, so I really have to be fucking present to the situation.
And it's probably hard to pretend with a book on your lap to pretend that you can read for that long.
It is. I wasn't sure how long to wait before I flip pages. But landed, then had to stand in line for 3-ish hours waiting for my rent-a-car. I couldn't cancel it and go to another rent-a-car place because they were going to charge me, and I'm like, fuck it, enjoy this. This is part of the fucking experience. Where's the fucking fruit, right? So I get the car, get back to the fucking casino, get in my room, order this fucking sub, get down in my fucking undies, and I'm sitting on the white bed sheets, and I take a bite. It's like fucking pressing 4 a.m. now. I got to be up at class at 7. The fucking sub blows apart at the bottom, goes all over my fucking crotch in the new bed sheets, and I'm like, just fucking like, this is amazing.
I'm so glad I'm here.
Right. Go and
I feel like that's when you called me. Or maybe it was the next day.
Yeah.
Tell me all that.
Yeah, it was the next day because at that I was just ready for sleep. So boom, I go to sleep after cleaning myself up, and then fucking wake up to Riley telling me he's on his way to the casino. So like I jump up, get in the shower, get ready, attend the first seminar. It was fucking amazing. By an artist, South American artist. His name is Charles, and I can't pronounce his last name because I don't want to fucking butcher it. But it was a fucking beautiful seminar. Amazing artist. Then from that led to like me being able to like kind of start get grounded and like figuring out which seminars to attend, what time, because it was a bit confusing, the PDF that they gave. But so I went up and hung out in my room, and then I went down and I got a chance to meet Carson. And Matt, I don't know if you've actually met him before in the past in person. Josh, I know you know him because you linked him up with me, but this fucking dude is amazing as far as like how we operate. Russ Abbott, on that level, like me and him got real, and Eli too, man. Eli's fucking amazing too. And me and Carson got in a little dialogue and started going down rabbit holes and walked to get coffee. And I noticed one thing that he was doing to me was like my language to myself, my self-talk, externally, what he could hear and bear witness to, was listening to me say things and stopping me and saying, say it like this because that's not true. And I appreciate that because my recovery sponsor is one of the only people in my life that actually catch in real time me doing that and then correct it. So I really appreciated him for that, and just the great talks we had. I thought that like the Numa 4 was at its peak, but he's explaining things about it that like, he really is someone that if you have a problem with the machine and bring that issue to him, he instantly jumps on it and starts addressing the issue like instantly. So like he's already got these upgrades from what I thought that couldn't be upgraded even more, and I just appreciated that. And so that was amazing. Kept taking seminars and classes throughout the day, touching base with them. What
I thought was funny too, one thing when you call me, but I don't want you to, I don't want to stop your flow either.
No, go
I
ahead.
remember, because it always comes down to who do you listen to. What is this? What'd you say? Tattoo Coalition? And what was
Coalition of Tattoo Safety.
Coalition of Tattoo Safety, and it was riddled with seminars from badasses from all over the world, and artists like yourself from all over the world are flying in to get imparted to. Show up with an empty cup. You showed up to learn, right? Which is, for all you listeners to confirm, you can't learn something that you already know, right? Learning is something you don't know. And oftentimes learning is also being reminded of shit you done forgot. Oh my God, right?
Yeah, and but throughout the week, everybody was asking like, did you gamble? Did you win anything yet? And I'm like, no, not at all. Like I'm not here to gamble.
Yeah.
Not even that it was. I don't know. I've just never been I can't say I've been a big gambler. Well, at least like I guess in that sense, yeah. But I will gamble, fucking taking big risks. Just not in that sense, but. Yeah, and you said learning is learning things that we haven't known or been reminded of, but also too learning is like learning something that we know, but getting like a different perspective on it is important too.
Yeah.
So, which is a lot of times, like I'll learn from people. I learn from apprentices.
Yep.
But yeah, so then the next night, like they bought all the attending artists tickets to this Chris Angel show, which I was like, whatever. I guess it's a fun time. So I go, and Chris Angel wasn't even fucking there. I didn't see him the whole time. It was just him like talking.
Wait.
And
You went to see a Chris Angel show and he was not there?
No, he wasn't there. Well, he may have been there. I don't know. Maybe he was on a microphone talking to him, but it seemed pre-recorded. But it was like
it's weird.
But it was the story. The show was based on his life and where he's gotten to now. But
And was it like a movie screen?
It was live theater.
Oh, okay.
So like they were interactive with everybody.
Okay.
And there were tricks and things, and then Chris Angel would like talk to them directly, adding some comedy to it, which, it was cool, and it was very for the senses. And at the end, his final message was like, live and be who you're meant to be. Don't gauge. Basically, the message that I was telling myself internally, like the whole reason I was going out here to find, I told you the question I was asking myself, but also the questions that I was curious about was like, who am I as an artist? Like, what is my style? Like, what is my purpose? Do I even fucking have one, or am I just following and copying other people? Because I told you I read that book, How to Steal Like an Artist, and we talked about it too on the podcast. But it was basically saying there is nothing new under the sun, and my style is me. Like, there can never be another style like mine, so it is me. So like, live into that and be that, because you have been doing that, which is something Carson pulled me up on. Like, you already are your style. It's you. It's you. But, and which then again goes to like, how can I see myself how other people see me, and then believe it? Like, get rid of this fucking whole imposter syndrome scenario and just be who I'm supposed to be, so that way I can like leave that shit behind and step into like this next chapter, this next level of what it is I'm supposed to be. Go through the seminars through the weeks, and little things are popping up. Wednesday morning, I wake up to my wife calling me, and this is where it gets a little bit weird, So my wife calls me and tells me that my oldest daughter took all her medication, because we usually lock it up from her, and she tried to kill herself. They took her to the hospital, pumped her stomach, and they've got her vitals back to normal and stabilized. And my wife was advocating to get her into like the mental area at the hospital for children. And instantly I'm like, well, what do I do? Do I leave? Do I stay? I wasn't getting guidance really. So I kind of had to like take myself away from that situation there, because I just didn't want to fucking be around people, but I knew isolation wasn't the best way to go. So my dumb ass is like, well, I'm going to hit the Strip to get away. And that's not the place to go if you're trying to like think.
Mm-hmm. So you should. So I guess.
How old is she?
She just turned 17 on the 14th.
Wow. I didn't know any of this. I feel guilty that I would be texting you, hey,
No, not at all, because I need those texts, because you were keeping me out of my own head.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of other things, and I don't want to get free at her expense, but there's some things that we thought she has grown through and changed, and just like there's still stuff that needs to be addressed. So everything got to normal, and Megan was like, it's cool, like we've got her in a safe place, we're working on getting her a bed, so ultimately it's not closure, but it gave me like, okay, all right. And she held the fort down and went through all the classes. People that were that attended the seminar kept me accountable and stayed with me, and helped me through it, and to understanding like what the steps were, and that it's going to take some time. There's going to be some things that we got to work on as a family when we get back. So Friday, the last seminar goes, and another one of those realizations, and again, like there's just so much, even the thing with my daughter is going to be a blessing. It's just like, where's the fruit? Right. Where is the fruit? Who knows? It will reveal itself if it can't be seen right now. But I'm in the middle of taking a Bob Tyrell seminar, which was cool, because he just talked a lot about where he came up, how he came up, where he's at, and then, touching a little bit of base on some techie stuff. But during this seminar, and I realized this, like I'm getting texts from Joshua Carlton asking me how it's going. Oh, and then Russ Abbott starts texting me like, hey, how's it going there? So I'm in the midst of a Bob Tyrell seminar getting tattooed by Joshua Carlton and Russ Abbott. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It was surreal. And I enjoyed it. And then there was an after party. Went and hung out a little bit after the seminars were done Friday night. Mario Barth's band played, Bob Tyrell played rhythm, and I kicked it. And
that's awesome.
chewed the fat with Riley. And then the next day, now it was just me, right? Now all the tattooers have gone home. There's no more seminars, and I'm there till Monday morning. So I just take off heading west. And I'm talking to my wife, and then she, can't wait to see you, can't wait to be back. She, what are you doing today? I was like, I don't know. It feels like I need to find myself or like reconnect with my higher power or something spiritual or eternally. I need to find the answer to this question of like, how do I see myself the way other people do? I hang up with her, and then I start driving. I just start crying like uncontrollably, and I'm embarrassed, and I'm by myself, and there's like no cars around me, and I'm like, just let it happen, and I can't let it happen. And I keep telling myself in my mind, like, you need to heal, and I'm like, heal from what? I'm good, like I feel all right, but maybe I do need to fucking heal. And I drive for another hour, and I end up calling Matt, and I start explaining to him like what's going on, and that like I broke down, and like. As soon as I told him that like I needed to heal, once I said it out loud and not in my mind, like I just started breaking down crying again on the phone with him, and like admitting that like I feel stupid and weak. And it's like, a few weeks ago me and Matt had this conversation about how like I can accept someone else crying, I can't accept myself crying because my perception of it is viewed as like a weakness. But I did, and I just let it be the way it was supposed to be. And then shortly after that, Josh, is when you started texting me again. I was in a Starbucks out in the middle of the fucking desert, and you were messaging me, and I was kind of telling you how it was going. But I took myself to LA. I'd never been to LA, and it was cool, and I just like enjoyed the trip and tried to like be the observer of my mind and not the thinker. And LA is a lot different than Hollywood makes it look.
Oh, yeah.
Way more compact. So like I'm trying to like find myself or find a place of isolation to like just be. And I remembered that Matt's brother Bart lives in Hollywood, so I messaged him, and he fucking messaged me back and invited me over to cook me dinner.
Not only does he live in Hollywood, that motherfucker runs Hollywood. He does. Yeah, go ahead.
And I go to his house, and I see it, and like we're hanging out, and I start telling him like my experiences and what journey I'm on. And Matt, you always told me that like anytime fucking whether you want to call it a prayer warrior or whatever, like Bart's the dude that fucking get the message across. So I'm like, well, he's a good person to tell. But also I didn't like want to show up for the first time at his house and like regurgitate like struggles and like epiphanies or whatever it was that I'm supposed to be having. But it was good, and I felt welcomed, and he told me I could stay. But I wanted to get back to Vegas, or the 3-4 hour drive, to be by myself and just be. And I don't know. Now looking back, it's like I feel like I've gotten closure, and I experienced the things the way they were supposed to be experienced. But it's not like I seen the fucking sky part open and like I was just downloaded like with this knowledge. It was more realistic. Right, because I always think that like when I have like these epiphanies or things like that, they're supposed to be grandiose.
Yeah. And is it crazy? I don't know about you, but I've never really been able to schedule an epiphany.
Right.
I'm going to have one Thursday at 10 p.m. I'm going to drive to the desert and have one. Even if we have the desire. Isn't it weird that most epiphanies don't show up on our time, on our terms, on our schedule? Most epiphanies you've had, it's like almost like most of it comes out of nowhere, out of the blue. You get downloaded, get enlightened, some revelation knowledge, pick up the phone, call me or Josh to be like, guess what? But it usually just shows up out of nowhere. It's weird how the things we want will show up when we're not seeking. Not saying things can't be revealed when we're seeking, and I'm a huge fan of seeking. We live a life of seeking, but I don't think there's anything wrong with when we are, and then we come back like, hey, I didn't get some big aha moment that I was looking for. And I think there's beauty in that place. But can we get clear on the question you said you were asking yourself? You've said it 3 times already. And what is the question again? How can I see myself the way others see me?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
And from that framework, are you saying like, hey, I'm still riddled with imposter syndrome, but other people out here think I'm pretty cool. Other people think I'm the shit. I wish I could see myself the way they do. Is that what you're getting at? Or what do you mean when you ask that?
Yeah. Okay, back to the elephant I was doing. So I'm doing this work with the round shader, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, which is another unanswerable question that I've learned from a form I've taken. Am I doing it right? Is it good enough? I need validation. Well, let me ask the round fucking shader master, Steve Butcher, and pick his brain. And I did, and come to find out like I was doing it right. And it's going to be hard to read and understand until you get to that last part, similar to what Josh was telling us when Savak was tattooing him.
Just to start interrupting, but just to explain for our listeners that don't know what that means when you say like fruity pebbles. When you use round shaders, you'll get these little patches of color, right? That don't look like really anything, and it really will fuck you up because you're like, how am I ever going to do this? So then you'll switch your style, right? You'll be like, fuck it, and you'll grab your mag and you'll try to fix it. You're trying to fix a problem that's not really there. But if you trust the process and follow the path, when you put those last pieces in, boom, everything works out.
Right.
So I just wanted to take a second to explain that, because if I didn't know what you meant, I'd be like, what does he mean, fruity pebbles? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, and so found out that like I was doing it right, and kind of like what that told me was like, I've been doing it right all along. I didn't need to have him tell me that, but ultimately I did.
Yeah,
to know that I was doing it right.
Fuck yeah, we all need that affirmation, confirmation. You're on the right path. Fuck, what a gift. But you got a gift on top of a gift. The affirmation, the confirmation that you were on the right path. Versus like, because it'd be a gift if you weren't doing it right, and then you showed up to that seminar and Steve Butcher's like, hey, actually, right here, you need to adjust and go this way. And what a gift. Boom. Now you know how to do it right. But you got a gift on top of a gift. You were already doing it right. Keep doing that. Psh. How many people go to Steve Butcher's seminar and would just love for him to tell them that, hey, dude, you're doing it right. What a gift.
So, yeah. And it was, again, like you said, you can't time these things. And I found myself just like not questioning nothing and just following through. Like a thought or a destination or like some kind of like inner dialogue would be like, do this. And I would then just do that.
And I love that you were playing that game, that you were playing the awareness game. You were trying to stay out of your head and get into your body and following unctions. Because even when we talked, after it was all over with and you still had some time out there, you didn't know what you were going to do. There's a sense of you that seemed lost, but another sense of you that was adventurous in being lost. And the feeling of being lost didn't take you out or hold you back from adventure. People would have just hunkered down in their hotel room, closed the blinds, and just flipped on the tube, right? No, you decided, Wild Harriet, you're going to hop in your rental and drive all the way to Hollywood for one night and come back in the same night. Adventure, I just want to commend you for seeking, for obeying your unctions, even if you're feeling led to do something in the midst of feeling no direction and feeling lost, but yet you were still playing full on out, open, available to see, asking the universe, God, source, show me what I can't see. Can you feel my heart? It hurts right now. What else? What is for me? What can't I see? Even supposedly how I think others view me, can I see through their lenses? Whatever, you were open and seeking. And I just love that even along the way, if you didn't get what you were hoping to get, that it didn't stop you from remaining open, almost like, well, I wonder how this is going to work out to my benefit too. And then you called me, right? And I don't know if you realize this, but it's the first time I've ever witnessed and heard you cry.
No.
I've never witnessed you cry. And so, my heart hurt for you, but I also was blessed because it's like, oh shit, You do cry. I didn't know. We've talked about it, but I've never seen it. I've never heard it, you know. And so in a way, that blessed me. It made me realize I wasn't as much of a bitch as I thought. Just kidding. No, but you know, it did. It blessed me too, big time. And then I felt bad because we were having a heart-to-heart. I wanted to keep talking to you. You got 5 hours or wherever. You're cruising. And then I got a call from Katie and knowing she needed my help. So we had to cut it short. And I told you I'd call you back. But then what I got, I couldn't.
Why's your wife always trying to fuck up our bromance?
You know? Man, dude. But even that, I think was purposeful because I had to let go. My dude needs me right now. It's the first time ever. He's fucking pouring his heart out. And then I'm like, I got to go. I'll call you back. And then I couldn't. You know? I almost wanted to text you like, fucking, you know. But I'm sure that was purposeful too for both of us because it was hard for me to talk about like some of the language you use and like instant gratification. I wanted to I wanted to call you back.
Right.
And couldn't, you know. And I'm hoping that even our listeners today that have you on some sort of pedestal may feel comforted that you too are human, you know. But I was trying to remind him, Josh, in the midst of it, and this wasn't to try and make it all better for him, but I was trying to give him perspective. Do you know where the fuck you're at right now? And everything the life you're living right now is such manifestation of dreams that you had. When him and I met just 5 years ago, if I would have told him that he'd be podcasting with me and you out there in Vegas, kicking it, walking the streets with Carson Hill, getting calls from Russ Abbott and going to kick it with Bob Tyrell, like just dropping some of those names. And you're not like just meeting them. You're friends with all of us, growing to be your best self, up to things, doing things, already have achieved things that once was simply a fucking dream. And these are dreams being manifested. And so that's something to stop and celebrate. Is it meant to take away any pain or any of your current search? No. But it was a friendly reminder from a brother that, like, fuck, dude, you're right now smack dab in the middle of all your dreams being fulfilled.
And, you know, with all that happening, what I did realize is, like, you know, what they call them in Australia, walkabouts, like a journey, a spiritual journey. It's like I've spent tons of money and flew this far for this small moment to maybe, and this is part of the process of like internal change, spiritual growth, whatever it is just that, like, if this is where I was at, all that effort went into moving me there. Not here.
Yeah.
Not past you, but
Yeah.
just there.
Great.
And maybe that's all that was needed from all that. And that's that you can't, I can't weigh basically the question I'm trying to, or the explanation is, did the ends justify the means? Fucking 110% absolutely. And I would do it again 10 times over, 3 times more expensive just to move
Come on.
that far.
Come on.
Well,
And
you have to remember that, you know, Matt's talked about it a lot. The whole reason for Light the Path, that's what you were doing, right? You can't see all the way out in the dark, right? But you can see that little bit, the next steps.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And
Yes.
that's what you're doing. That's how I see it, right, Matt? That's what he's doing.
Yep. Yeah. And wherever you're at on the path is light years from, you're still at a place that you only dreamt about. Like we talked about it, you dreamt about it, but there was the old you didn't know that was ever really in the cards. So you used to say shit. If you had a part of what you got today, you would like be happy for the rest of your life. When I met this man, he didn't have a car, hadn't had a driver's license in 15 fucking years, had no money, it didn't even have a tattoo machine. All these things were on his first vision board. You know what I'm saying? Now he used to back then talk about, because he was trying to get enough money to get his cell phone turned on, and he would rationalize that even though he doesn't have the money for a cell phone bill right now. He was thankful that he finally was working towards that, and you would call that luxury stresses.
Right.
You know, just to be able to have a cell phone. You didn't have your L's yet. You didn't have a ride yet. You know, back then, to have a cell phone this month was a luxury stress. Fucking fast forward today, now your luxury stresses compared to your old one is just like, Huge. Oops, I thought I was in first class. I'm not. Oops, Riley Smith, the co-founder of Evergreen Invitational's blowing me up because he's my bride. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Carson Hill wants to be my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I've known Hip for less time than you, but
Yeah.
we've had conversations of things that I've seen you completely manifest, things that you're in the middle of right now. You and I have had a lot of deep, like, tattoo technique conversations. I've been really open with you about what I feel about your work and where it's headed, and just my own anecdotal advice. And I've watched it just continually unfold. I'm always impressed with your momentum. You know?
yeah.
I received that.
Well, fuck yeah,
Yes.
dude.
See, even that. See,
Yep.
that's better than last time.
Yeah, that's
Fucking
right.
Get in there and get it. Fucking get it.
Yeah. So in saying that, you said, well, did the means justify the ends? If you even said if it cost 3 times what you spent, that you would do it again. So in saying that, what are some good takeaways you did get? Whether it was a takeaway from a conversation, from a seminar, like what are some things you did bring home with you? Like, man, that one moment was fucking worth the trip.
Man, there's a lot. You know, there's some techie stuff that I learned for sure. There was a moment where, like, one of the seminars that I attended was someone who, like, and again, this is like that internal controversy I'm talking about. A few of the people that were teaching seminars had equally as much followers as I did, and this seems like it's judgmental, but they were doing work that I could totally do.
Awesome, and that was encouraging. I remember you called me like, dude, there's some presenters here that are like, you feel on the same level.
And they're when I put someone on a pedestal, or I thought you could only do seminars if you were known worldwide. I didn't know just everybody can do a seminar if they want, which is, I did know that, but it was good to see people doing that and actually
You have to have
teaching
something to offer. You know,
Yeah, and you know, it was good to see that and to feel that, because, like, you know, I asked myself before, like, could I teach a seminar? And the answer's always been no. But, like, the answer now is like, yeah, I totally have some things that I could bring to the table that would be of value. So it's totally plausible, and seeing that helped me with that. You know, and then the techie stuff, Carson, just another reminder of, like, my language and how I speak of myself and others. Like, be very conscious about my language, basically, you know. Well,
your subconscious doesn't necessarily know if you're saying something negative. Even if you're thinking it internally, your subconscious doesn't really know the difference. So
right, it
it's gonna
doesn't know.
react.
Yep, it doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So why
Exactly.
not imagine things that could become reality? Because
Right.
ultimately they will become reality. So why not make it better?
Right. And to a lot of people, that sounds so like woo or whatever, but like if you break it down, like the placebo effect works absolutely. And the reason it works is that you know, okay, I come from somebody that has severe anxiety and panic attacks, like full blown panic attacks, right? Now, if I'm having a full blown panic attack and I think I'm going to have a heart attack, my subconscious puts all of the alarms and bells and whistles, and my body reacts as if, what? I'm having a heart attack. So I'm actually physically experiencing the most horrific feeling in the world, because my subconscious is like, we got you, bro, and they're handling it, right? So how you talk about yourself, to yourself, the language you use, Carson is absolutely right? And because your body is going to react to what you're putting in.
Right.
It's just fact. That's fact.
And, you know, I didn't mention either, like, that whole week I was there, I purposely didn't do any type of art.
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple times. I like that.
Yeah. And, you know, I even went into Sean Barber's painting seminar with my buddy Rock. And I just sat in the back and just observed and listened to him talk. And man, what a fucking sweetheart. I've never met him before. He came up and he leaned down and he was like, hi, I'm Sean.
Sean Barber?
Yeah.
He is so sweet, man.
He was like, why don't you come check out this painting? It's a new one I finished, and it was of Philip Liu, his wife, and I can't remember the other artist, but I sat down in front of it. It was a big fucking oil painting, a beautiful painting. I think he's got it on his Instagram right now. But I just sat there and observed it and like looked at different parts of the painting and asked like, well, why would he do that? I wonder what's this. And the cool thing is, if I really wanted to know, I could simply turn around and fucking ask him.
Right. Yeah, he's invited you to see the work, and we all have this thing where like the better somebody is at something, it's easy to think like, one, they don't want to talk to me, I'm nothing, why would they want to talk to me? Or even worse, that you just assume they're a dick, right? And then you miss this opportunity because Sean's I know Sean for years. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of knowledge and he likes to share it. And like the fact that he invited you to do that, you weren't douchey and took advantage of it. Like, what kind of medium do you use? What I mean? All these things, but you kind of you absorbed it. I think it was. You've heard me say before, I like the phrase, take a little time to be quiet. And I feel like that's kind of what you did when you said, I didn't think about this or that. You just kind of let it be. And like, to me, that's a beautiful thing. We all should do more of that. And I see that you've done it. And I can look at you right now through the screen and I can see that there's been a change. You got this little slight extra glow about you. You've got something on the horizon. I mentioned earlier, I see some change. I can physically see it. Call it an aura, whatever. But right, Matt, don't you see it?
Yeah.
That's exciting. How exciting is that, right?
Dude, even your screen just now when you said that gave a thumbs up emoji is gone now. It's so weird.
Did it really?
Yeah. When he said that, his screen, like AI is like, yep, he's right, Josh.
It's so powerful. The AI is like, I see you, dog.
That's right. For real.
And the reason for our viewers why I didn't see it is because we have a TV up here where Josh is big and then the camera is right here, and anytime Josh speaks I can't really look at him. Well, I can, but it just looks weird for you guys, so I look at the camera so he sees that I'm making contact with him. But yeah, I fucking that's fucking dope.
I know it, dude. Yeah.
And I got to meet BJ Betts and take his seminar, and I got to say his seminar was the most fucking tat daddy seminar. Like everybody else, and I'm not saying, I know he knows art of course, but like he would talk about things like someone would ask a question. He's like, it was how to tattoo a rose, and it was just very fucking entertaining. He'd be like, yeah, so this area here, I wanted it a little darker, so I just fucking make it fucking darker. Like, it's rad, it's dope. And it just felt like a tattoo seminar, and I really appreciated that. He wasn't talking right. He wasn't talking about like light source and midtones. He was just like, yeah, you want this fucking area not light, so like fucking don't make it light. And I'm like, okay, hell yeah.
It can't be that easy though. It's like, it's that same thing. It's like straightforward. BJ Betts is a fucking master. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. I'm glad that you were wise enough to like take so many, like to take advantage of that. But I'm such a geek about that. Like I would do the same thing. Like I'm not missing a fucking second.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like even after all these years, like I hope you never lose that passion. I don't think you will. Yeah. I think that all of us, I see, Matt's the same way. We're like, we talk about being eternally a student and stuff, but like the truth is like it's still fun for me. Like I get all fucking excited, you know what I mean? And like one little morsel. Like I've been in seminars and I remember like taking notes and like circling it like 20 times. I'm just sitting there scribbling a circle because I'm like, this is life changing, Man. I still feel that, I want that magic of tattooing forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think ultimately you had a lot of shit happen, but I think ultimately you had a good time, a good week. It's cool.
Yeah, and it was amazing, and a level of surrender came on that drive that it's like, dude, what you resist persists. And real quick, Josh, what you were just talking about, it's a shame that like youth is wasted on the young, because looking back, like being the bully of the nerds and shit in school that I was, like if I could go back and do it again, I would befriend all the people that I thought were dorks or fucking nerds, because and I would sit in class up front and pay attention because of that. Like the love to gain knowledge and to learn is so profound in me right now. Like you can't really get it. I can't really get enough of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was a level of surrender, Matt, and this may be the greatest thing, but it's like, you know what, just accept it. You are who you are. This is the impact you make. It continues to grow and change and evolve. Like, accept it, live into it, push forward, and fucking just receive it and be that.
That's why I sent you that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What?
That's why I sent you that message where I don't remember exactly, but something along the lines of a lot of stuff is about to change for you. I just wanted to make sure you were aware to accept it and to handle it the correct way as well.
So good, man. So fucking good. Something else that I received in one of our phone calls, because Hip would call me almost every other day. We talked every day, every other day, because I'd want to know, cool, where'd you just go? What's next? Like, what are you up to? When we could talk, which was brief. And I feel like you noticed, like, firsthand, lack of leadership. Right?
Yeah.
Which some people could complain about, but guys like us get real excited. To me, that's another form of affirmation that you're doing it right, and that the world and even our industry could stand more leadership, better leadership, which is who we are. And so to me, so many of you listeners, again, the Dunning-Kruger effect, may have a desire in your heart, feel called to do something, but ask, but who am I, right? When the truth is, we need you, And so I thought that was a powerful observation, because so often you think something like that would be riddled with leadership. And to get there and for a moment maybe be discouraged that the leadership here is missing, to me, is a calling to those of you out there who feel called to be leaders. You're needed.
Absolutely. You've got a lot of people who grow up without fathers, and you'll hear them, if they're successful, oftentimes they'll be like, it was a coach, it was somewhere like a football coach, some form of a coach in their life that gave them that leadership. You hear that story a lot. I love it when I'm tattooing somebody that's, just clearly really got, they got it together, and as you tattoo people, you talk to them, and so often I hear about like great parents. Part of my success was my great, but we don't all get that. Right.
Most of us don't.
Most of us don't have that privilege or that luxury at all.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't have leadership in your life.
That's right.
Like you said, we need you. You know what I mean? So it isn't. I do think it's really important to find that, to find that leadership. Real
Even
just
cool.
To get permission, like we talk a lot about. Like you mentioned several times, Matt. I love this phrase from you. I'm really excited to see how this plays out in your favor.
Yeah, right.
That's one of my favorite sayings I hear you say a lot. And the first time you said it to me was a really rough time in my life. And I was almost a little bit annoyed with it. You know what I mean? Because it was everything was so bad. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean my favor? Like, do you see what's going on?
Right.
But then it happened. And it did play out in my favor. So.
Jeez. It's like that famous Rumi quote, R-U-M-I hyphen. Rumi's a poet. He's got so many great one-liners, but one is, it's all rigged in your favor.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So even when I said earlier, a couple of quotes that I like, I think we have a lot of quotes on the show. I love them. They work for their work, but with the one that I said to take a little time to be quiet, one of my absolute favorites is, be still and know.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not even much, but I'll get caught up in my own cancer situation and what if this, and it's just like Nikki will say, Joshua, to be still and know. And I will just immediately feel myself calm down. And I'm like,
I love that.
Right? It's beautiful. Yeah.
There's a whole second part to that
There is.
line that you just said. That's the first half. The second half of that, the ancient scripture says, be still and know that I am God.
Wow.
Yeah,
as soon as I heard that, that's just been something that's been in my life for a long time.
it's so good, Josh. It's so good.
So,
Yep.
Well, what has transpired with you, Matt?
Man. Jeez.
Because it was fucking big with
Yeah.
Russ taking the seminar. Like, what an honor.
All you listeners out there, we say it all the time. If your dreams aren't scary, they're not big enough, right? That sounds cool, and then when it starts happening, it's all good,
Yeah.
And even me, I've been growing, and so the very things I've been working towards, the very things I've been manifesting, saying I wanted, and now they're all happening, and then I got scared, like, oh no, which is fucking beautiful.
Everybody wants to be a fighter until they get punched in the face.
For real. And here we are. It's the 20-year anniversary of Hell City. 2022. We haven't had in years, like all the shows. And this year I have the honor. Derb brings me in as an authority to teach 2 seminars and to be judge on the main stage. So the last time I judged was at the Evergreen Invitational. What a fucking honor. I'm judge at Evergreen and Hell City in 22. What an honor. And, I was told, even by Derb, like, Matt, don't get discouraged. Like, people these days don't even take seminars at shows. Like, and I was like, Derb, let me worry about that. I thank you for the honor. If you just give me a shot. He's like, Matt, no, I love you. You do it, man. But just don't be discouraged. Matt, if you get 3 people to sign up for your seminars, that's considered a win these days, and they were shocked to come by and see that my seminar room had a really great turnout.
Full.
Nice.
It was full, both of them,
Of course it was, yeah.
Oh my God. And so that was huge. The only thing that I've always loved more, and maybe I shouldn't even say it that way, than the art form of tattooing is the art form of building relationships. The only thing that lights me up more than what might be in my own portfolio and the pride that I was able to pull off those Fruity Pebbles, right, is the other like-minded artists that I get to meet and build a relationship with and even be friends, right? And so for every time I'm at a show, I always go up and introduce myself to artists I haven't met yet. The only difference this year, and I think this podcast has got a lot to do with it, Josh, every time I went up to introduce myself to somebody, hey man, I'm Matt, we haven't met yet. Every time they're like, oh, we know who you are. Didn't look forward to meeting you. I'm like, whoa, like, so that was really, really fucking cool.
Well, we had people, remember, at Evergreen were coming up and meeting you and crying, like literally crying, because the podcast has in some way affected them. I remember one woman particularly saying that her coworkers are always like, calm down, because she's constantly re-quoting our quotes, right?
Yeah.
This is something that impacted her life. But as a well-known tattoo artist, we've all experienced the high fives and the and that's wonderful. But I feel like with the experience of people coming up and really we touch them somehow so much through the podcast is overwhelming, to say the least. Talk about a blessing, right?
It was and is, and I remember you even feeling the same way, because you're world famous as a tattooer, and you know what that feels like. People coming up loving on you or nervous to meet you because you are the Joshua. But you even said to me after Evergreen, like, man, from the podcast, I actually felt like famous. You know,
it was different.
It was. My God, so fucking huge. So yeah. Russ tells me that he wasn't at Hell City, wasn't planning on coming. Last minute, he decided to, bought a plane ticket, flew to Hell City, and wanted to meet me and took my seminar and sent me a DM to let me know, kind of introduce himself. Hey, Matt, I just got in Hell City, just bought a ticket to your show, coming to your seminar. Really looking forward to meeting you. After my mind was blown, I got fucking nervous. On top of already, because I always get nervous when I present. I care so much. I want to do a good job, but now the Russ Abbott's coming, right? Which was awesome. He came, Josh, and sat front row of the seminar. and
Took notes.
was taking notes. And, he's kind of dry, monotone. Like, I didn't know him, so I couldn't really read him to tell, like, if he was really enjoying it, getting much out of it.
He's just there to audit you.
You could could have been,
right.
like so many people when they're trying to figure out if this Clemmer dude's the real deal or not, they all show up to audit me, and so I knew that was plausible. I didn't know, and I just had to do what I do know to do, which is just to be me and let the chips fall where they may. Right.
Live in the moment. Yep.
That's right, and that's what I did. Well, my God, afterwards, we walked out in the hallway, and Russ came up to me and shook my hand to tell me it was amazing, and he believed what I'm offering was like one of the major missing pieces that our whole industry needs. And so
100%.
My God, I just couldn't believe it. And then he asked to exchange numbers and wanted to have further talks about the possibility of us even working together and what that could look like, how we could impact the industry together.
Sure.
Which led to him and I decided to have a one-on-one this week. And anyways, over Zoom, and me and Russ sat, and I'm a sentimentalist, so any Zoom call I have, I hit record. Well, 4 minutes into the call, Russ noticed I was recording and asked me to stop the recording. I'm like, okay, yeah, and we stopped it, and I let him know, like, dude, this is just sentimental reasons, because I believe that you and I are probably going to do something really rad together, and the sentimental part of me was going to capture this is where it started, but it's all good. Anyways, we talked for over 4 hours together, Josh, over Zoom, just discussing possibility, one another's hearts, our vision, and getting to know one another better. And, at the end of that 4 hours, we decided we fucking love one another's hearts, our vision, and definitely feel called to do something together. And so there's big things in the works just for us joining together to, again, serve our industry together, to the point where even Russ is launching a new platform. It actually just launched last week, but it's still kind of on the DL right now, but it's coming soon, and we're even going to just have Russ himself here on the show to share it with all of you on what he's up to.
Very cool.
But yeah, what an honor, huge blessings, and it's cool that I can call my and Josh, you had asked me, because I think I told you that he was coming, and you had asked me to give him a hug for you, and I fucking did, and I just grabbed him, and I was like, hey man, and I just pulled him in. I gave him a big bear hug, and while I was holding him, I was like, this is from Joshua Carlton. I promised him I would give you this hug, and he like lit up. I was like, okay, all right. And
nice.
Yeah, and he really thinks, he reveres you. He thinks, very highly of you, and I told him it's reciprocated, that,
I love him.
Yeah, man, and I think it's a desire of his heart to reconnect and to grow and build with you as well, Josh.
We were lucky enough to meet kind of early on in Atlanta, and just not right off the bat noticed we had such a vision, and we're all doing the things we dreamt about.
Geez.
You know what I mean? So he was somebody that it's always so nice. That's why I like to sit down and talk to you guys every week with this, because it's always so nice to talk to like-minded people. And right away, Russ and I were both like, we got a vision. We want to make, it's the same, make tattooing better than you found it.
Yep.
He's very innovative, has a lot of ideas, but they're really good ideas.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I've always had a huge high regard and respect for Russ. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to having him on.
Yes. Awesome. Yep. Selfishly, he paid me several compliments, but one thing that just really blessed me, because he was saying, like, these days, he's all about who you associate with, right? Mm-hmm. Who you surround yourself with, which we're all about that, and so he was describing these days the type of people he wants to surround himself with, and he gave many attributes, but one was, these days, Matt, I want to surround, I just want to be around smart people. Yes. I want to be around a lot of smart people. And then he was like right now, I'm having a conversation with one right now. And that just really blessed me, because I could tell he's a real smart fellow, you know.
Absolutely.
And your guys' personality and the way your brains work, I feel like, are real similar.
Sure.
You know,
I think you have to think a certain way to have these grand ideas that take risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be, I think, a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But you embrace it. You know.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that was huge. Like you said, Hell City, man. And I'll tell you, it was fucking Love Fest 2022 part 2 from Evergreen. Because, you know, Evergreen, the place was blanketed with love and a servitude of, and there were so many artists there that I felt like their minds were blown of, like, they hadn't been a show with so much love and acceptance, and all these people, no one's making them feel like they're in competition with one another. Like, everyone's going out of their way. And energetically in the atmosphere, artists who didn't know any better noticed a measuring stick. There's something different about the spirit over this place. What's happening here? And it was like almost foreign. Like, everyone's like so helpful, so cool. No one's a dick, right? And you know what some of those didn't know is half the people there were like-minded people and TBM students and Joshua Carlton students that already had a foundation of being the biggest servants and lovers, you know, and it showed. It was tangible. Well, fast forward to Hell City, and there were even more TBM students there and other people. Again, it was a love fest. So that's one. Two, I think because of the world pandemic and we haven't had shows in a couple years, that there's a new level of gratitude for them, you know?
Yeah, because I've heard, I mean, this was our best year for Evergreen, and I heard, I mean, Durham puts on an incredible show, so Hell City is always amazing, but I heard it was extra special this time.
Yeah. It really, really was. And it's awesome to see it on everybody. And some people couldn't even put language to it, but they were just so grateful, which opened the doors for more connections, more relationships to be built. Years ago, when some dude might have been too insecure and occurred as a cool guy, this year that shit was out the window and it was like, what up, hey, what up, you know? And so it was just dope, which created so much more fruit in the atmosphere for us to get on with it and really have a wonderful show, you know. And something we've said this before, the only thing more powerful sometimes than your actions are your reactions, how you react. And our booth, our aisle 9 booths, what do we have, Hip? 4 booths? It was like 3 doubles?
2.
Okay.
2.
Anyways, it seemed like we took up a nice little row. And they set us this year next to the live painters. Like, there's a little stage and easels, and there was painters there painting. Well, there was one gal, and she's from Hollywood, never done a convention, never done Hell City, and another painter enrolled her into coming. And on day one, and so I think it was culture shock for her, and the mass crowd that's walking and standing in front of our booth and stuff, I think she kind of had she got overwhelmed, anxiety attack, whatever, and she kind of snapped a little bit. And it's funny because when she did, the most harmless, meek-spirited, nerdy dude on our team, who's just a sweetheart, badass tattooer, Evan Chandler, when she finally snapped, she snapped at him for chewing his gum too loud.
Really?
Right? Yeah. And everyone was just like, what the fuck? And out of anybody, you going to pick on him? And he's like, you know? And I
literally just received a letter from him in the mail yesterday.
Oh,
just
really?
To show you just to show you how wonderful he is. A thank you card for having him at Evergreen. A picture of him and I together. Just a super sweet, like, hey, thank you so much for having me. So just for our listeners to know what he's talking about, like what a sweet guy this guy is.
He is.
Gum too loud.
For chewing his gum too loud on the convention floor, like, you can hear gum? You know what I'm saying? It was just mind-blowing. Now, wasn't there to witness this, but my team was, and they got mother hen, like, you know, and so they decided that chick's weird, or everyone, you know. And so fast forward to Sunday, and I just felt led to love on this woman. And so we did so. And I went and grabbed a bunch of cash and decided to buy one of her paintings on behalf of all of us, and to just love on her for being a neighbor or whatever. And my God, she broke in that moment. Like, she was so happy. And I grabbed that painting, put my arm around her. We did a photo shoot together and just blessed her, And Evan's client, because he was working on the same chick, so she had witnessed, and even Evan's client just thought that was amazing. Like, how we, instead of like being weird or like fucking with her, because obviously she'd be easy to fuck with, we decided to support her, love on her, and thank her and buy her work, right? So that was fun. I didn't think nothing of it. Fast forward like an hour later, and I'm coming down the escalators. And when I'm coming down, there's two dudes, and they were the other painters. They barricaded the bottom of the escalators. I'm on my way down, and they're just standing there with their arms crossed, dead on eye contact. I'm getting closer to them, and they're blocking it. Like, when I get to the bottom of this, I'm wondering, what's their plan? Are they going to step out of the way for me to get off? Why are they standing there? And when I got down the bottom of the escalators, because they weren't smiling, arms crossed, when I got down to the bottom, they're like, it's been brought to our attention that you just bought so-and-so's painting. And I'm like, huh? Yeah. And they both stretched their arms out, and they're like, you just made her whole show, and we want to thank you because we're the ones that talked her into coming here. And you just made her whole show, like, worth it. I
didn't even know this.
Yeah.
You're talking about the chick that would like have a bunch of like like vegetables and shit, and then a little naked lady sitting there?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, I'll show you the painting.
I appreciated like the cats. Yep, I remember that one.
So this is, the painting I
awesome.
bought, and she's an artist. She's like, it'll look way better when we get it in a frame. So I'm going to do that.
Right.
I'm going to get it framed and then show her love and probably post it on Instagram, tag her in it. Because I'm for real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even though there was multi-purpose, but
That's awesome. That's fucking cool, actually.
And she was doing like her own little. It reminds me, who is it? Monet that does the apples in front of people's faces.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Monet, but I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, or it'll have a bunch of. It's raining a bunch of people and with umbrellas. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember what artist it is, and I feel like totally douchey that I can't, because I did a essay on him in junior high school. But it reminds me of that because like she would have like still lifes of like tomato soup and like an onion getting chopped up, and then there would be a little naked like live painter model just like sitting on a thing of cheese. And anonymous, no face or nothing, not a bunch of description, but it was just fun because it was like, well, why would she do that? And I'm like, I don't know, but I fucking dig it.
Right, yeah. Sometimes that's the best parts of art is I don't know why. I just know I like it.
Right.
Big time. But yeah, and so just little moments like that, were fun. Something else I did this year that I've never done is I had a wireless lapel mic in my pocket, and it was just clipped to one of my dreads, so you couldn't even see it. And my videographer, Sydney, was following me around everywhere on the show because, again, you can't even necessarily plan a magical moment. So I was just always on. And whenever she hit record on the camera, it picks up the dialogue, even if she's 50 foot away. And so not only was I networking and building relationships, but a lot of it was documented. So we've got hours of footage to edit just to get to share some of those moments and me in real life time. So guys, and we've talked about this on like in our episode about conventions and that how this is like the real currency. And then I may make it look easy, but it's not. It takes courage. I have insecurities too. I'll have the sense I want to go up and talk to Paul Booth as an example. And immediately my own head could talk me out of it or make me so all in my own head. By the time I get to Paul, now I'm fucking weird, right? And what I'm getting at is we all fight those things, but to just have the ability to let it all go and just go and be light, and and so it was beautiful. And we did get to kick it with Paul Booth. I got to kick it with him in 2019, kicked it with him again this year, and man, that dude's a sweetheart.
Oh yeah, he's always been great. I like to think of you being nervous and like walking up to him and being all like, "I'm Matt Booth. Wait,
Yeah.
Booth, tattoo guardian. I draw."
Right. Yeah. Or I just all of a sudden out of nowhere pull clippers out and shave all my dreads off except the one in the back.
Right.
Man, it was good shit. The judging this year, the system they had was fun and different. But we
There
all
was like nine judges or something.
There were
right?
9 of us, and we
Wow.
each had 3 laminate cards, right? And so they'd stand up a whole, what they call it, a wave of people in a certain category, and they'd stand them all up, and we literally could walk by. They're all together, and we're doing walk-bys on the stage. You're looking at each tattoo, and I'm whittling it down to the top 3. And
So they don't walk up to you and like present it. You walk around them and like you're looking for.
That's right. So say if they line 7 people up on stage, say if this is like a best black and gray. And so first, and they got to tell us in case they're one of those collectors that have 3 entered, then they got to tell us this one, this one, this one. And I can only vote for one card to 1 tattoo. But so whichever one, obviously first I think is the best, I'm going to hand them a card. And I got 2 more, and then I'm going to look second best. And then it's always hard because I've only got 1 more card, but I see 3 tattoos that are fucking amazing. How do I pick? But I have to, and I decide, and I give my card. So does every other judge. So then Derb comes up. If you're standing here and you didn't get a card, you can leave stage. Then whoever's got a card, whoever the top 3 has the most cards, then everyone else, goes. And so now it's down to the top 3. Then we get our cards back. Now we got to go back up and look. And I only have 1 card now. And so now the 3 remaining that we've whittled it down to, out of these 3, who am I going to give a card to, right? And so that was kind of the system. And it was just a lot of fun, It was a lot of fun.
I wonder if that comes, if that's something that Derb has come up with on his own, or is that?
Yeah,
it
right.
almost sounds like maybe there's some history to that. I wonder,
Yeah, I was having so much fun, I didn't even ask. But
I'd be interested in that.
Yeah.
So when you have when you have the 1 card and you're like, bam, that's them knowing you're my pick.
Totally. There's no hiding it. And that's the only part that made it weird to me because, I'm all about inclusion and not people getting picked or rejected. They are on stage getting picked or rejected right in front of everyone. Yep.
Yeah. Like you didn't even, that would be weird. So the audience, everybody that's watching, they're obviously aware as well. Like, she's got,
Totally.
Interesting.
But it makes it go quick.
Right.
Because we're judging 7 people at once.
Yeah.
And like always, whether it's Hell City or Evergreen, how do you pick between awesome and awesome? I mean, there was hellaciously
ridiculous, amazing artist. Exactly.
Totally, man. Yeah. Totally. But, yep, it was a blast. Absolutely. But yeah, then after Hell City, this man just goes and flies to Vegas. So I ain't seen him since. When'd you get in, Hip? Like this morning?
No, I got in 7 a.m. yesterday. I was on the plane the whole time from midnight till...
So in the midst of us, doing our thing, I fucking get on Instagram and Facebook and see a new up-and-coming badass artist that seemed to just fucking show up out of nowhere, killing it. And it's a female, and apparently this was only her 3rd tattoo, and it's already mind-blowing. Which just happens to be Nicole Carlton.
Right. It's such a crazy ride. This has been. So Nicole's my wife, obviously. If Mike wants to put the picture up of the tattoo, she just did this eye tattoo. I started this skull on this guy, and he knew that Nikki was newly tattooing and was brave enough to basically say, "Hey, I would love for you to collaborate or add to it," And I was like, you know what? Let's go for it, And Nikki is one of the only people that I know that I can say she keeps up with me as far as being absolutely obsessed with being her absolute best,
Man.
And it shows. So
yes,
she what we have. So first of all, Yes, it's only her third black and gray tattoo. But you do want to keep in mind that even though she hasn't been apprenticing for 20 years, she's been with me for over 20 years. She's been there for my nervous breakdowns about that I'm not good enough. I'll never be the tattoo artist I want to be. So she's, through osmosis, kind of been pseudo apprenticing for a long time, right? So keep that in mind when you see the quality of the work, because I'm very proud of her.
Well,
But,
yeah.
But yeah, she definitely. So the skull, like I said, I started, and she did the eye on the top, and I will proudly say I think that it's like literally the quality matches mine.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yes.
And that's humbling for me too. I love it. I would say I've never experienced this before, right? This is very new for me. She's very honest with herself. I can be very truthful with her, not mean, but like I almost look at it as I'm training an Olympian. You know, it's like it's that hardcore. If she wants to be the very best, and I mean, it shows. I'm extremely proud of her. I know everybody would gush because it's her wife, or whatever, but she just turned 40 a couple of days ago, and she's just absolutely decided that I'm going to come out of the gate and murder this. And it's incredibly exciting, you know?
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys talking about it, and anybody that's written her and supported her. So something about Nicole that's interesting, and if you listened in the past, there's low self-esteem, and then there's like no self-esteem. And as wonderful and incredible as my wife is, she doesn't see it. Hip talked about how can I get people to see me like they do? Or how can I get myself to see myself like others do? And she's very much in that boat. You know, so this has been really rewarding to watch her glow, her smile, her, because she's doing so well that even somebody with no self-esteem, you can't deny it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's the best tattoo in the world or anything, but my God, if you could see my third tattoo, you wouldn't want me on the podcast.
Or anyone's
post that
third
picture
tattoo.
of that too, Mike.
Man.
I don't even know if I'll find something for sure. I definitely got some shit out there.
I mean, for our listeners, I know tattooers that have been tattooing 20 years and can't do what Nicole did the other day as her third tattoo. Mm-hmm. You know, and yes, like we said before, she's obviously got a motor. She's been rolling next to Josh, but still, still. And then he's trained her like an Olympian, right? And her level of talent as well. So we can factor those things in. But one thing, if you guys are noticing what I believe Josh has done, which we're fans of, is start with the end in mind, the vision that can pull you towards it, instead of saying, having all these arbitrary rules that you can't even work towards that until, right? Kind of like how I was told I couldn't even do realism till 7 years, whatever, right? And he's starting her out at upper echelon, you know, and it shows. So she's already learning to be her best self and to be a better than average artist on her first tattoo, and they all show it. And we got our third one that some people may not even believe that Josh didn't do it because it's that well done, you know. But the possibility for her to even surpass her master, but to be one of the greats, is because she's being trained by one of the greats who's starting her out there.
Right, and I definitely keep in mind all of the things about tattooing correctly. So we're not just like throwing her to the wolves and be like, you're only to do realism. Like, she knows all the fundamentals. What I do that I think has worked out very well, I have her draw to completion every tattoo. So she doesn't just make a stencil; she draws in charcoal. Yeah, she tries her best to make it look the best, and then the goal is always to like at least parts of it, if not the whole. Ideally, the tattoo should be even better, right? Yeah. So a lot of times when people say, "Oh, I like to make my stencils by hand because I want to get to know the piece," right? Well, she's very intimate with the piece because she spent hours on the drawing. So that's something I feel has been really nice. So she's worked a lot of the kinks out. I am literally sitting right next to her and I'm guiding her. So we both know, she's aware of this. If she were to go today without me, she's going to get in her head. And she still needs me to like kind of hold her hand.
Sure.
but she's doing the tattooing. Like,
Yeah.
I've already had a few people kind of like jokingly kind of question it. I
Yeah.
assure you, she's doing she's doing them. But beyond proud of her.
Man.
It's been it's exciting for me to watch. It's like, I don't know, it's so cool because for years she talked about tattooing and she drew like a little bit, but she's obsessed with, she loves art. We've actually recently started collecting art, like actual buying paintings and stuff, like really going for it, right? And we have such a similar taste. So she understands art, she knows what she likes, why she likes it. But we kind of thought, or at least I did, and maybe I made a mistake here, simpler tattoos. Well, if you really want a tattoo, let's get you, an apprenticeship, and let's guide you, and you do good clean lines, and and then she got into cosmetic tattooing, and I'm like, that's a good way to get your feet wet, and like you're tattooing someone's face, right? That's so important to make perfect.
Yeah.
But right away, she was really good at that too. Like her eyebrows look like real hair. And then one day she was like, if I'm gonna do it, I want to do what you do. And I was like, what? I had zero idea. Because we were talking about like maybe certain styles, like dot shading, not to water that down at all. There's beautiful, beautiful artwork. But I was just thinking of trying to help her get in without it being incredibly
discouraging.
Yeah, it's discouraging. Because imagine learning the tattoo right now. Holy shit.
Right.
Everybody's so fucking good.
Right.
So when she said that, I was like, well, I'm really blown away. I don't want to discourage you, but it's so incredibly hard. And I said, if you really are serious and you want me to teach you, I want you to fill the sketchbook up. And I don't want to just doodle. I mean, like, I want to see, what do you have? Bring it. You know what I mean? And if you go to her Instagram, you'll see she's filling up the sketchbook, and her drawings are beautiful, and they get better and better. And so when she did do the first tattoo, a little skull, I saw it immediately. I was like, whoa, that skull alone was really like, wow. But then now it's just like, and we joked about it before. It's like, well, now you kind of fucked yourself because now we know you can do it. So you can't go anywhere. You can't go even sideways.
Right.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I'm just very, very excited for her. And like I said, more than anything, I'm just excited to see the glow. She just recovered from COVID. I just went through an incredibly bad bout with a reaction to my new chemotherapy. So she's coming out of 10 days in bed. Yeah. And then she just drops this bomb tattoo. Like,
jeez.
So.
So good.
Just, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to tell people to, like, go praise her if they don't think it, but it would make her world if, like, if you like the tattoo on her Instagram and you mentioned it to her, man, it would make her fucking world.
Yeah. So, what is her Instagram, Josh?
I think it's just N Carlton. I think at N Carlton. Yeah. Yeah. I certainly should know my wife's Instagram better than that, but that's a typical husband.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It is N Carlton. And so people can see her sketchbook, and just to see the progression. And man, it's just unbelievable. And I couldn't be happier for you guys. And just
thank you so much.
Yeah, it makes my heart so full.
I think she's a great example of when I go on and on about you got to have a motor, you got to have drive. She's fucking got it in spades. So she loves tattooing. That's all she thinks about. That's all she talks about. And it shows. So she would sit there for 10 hours if it took it. She did that eye in 4 hours. So it wasn't even like insanely, you know what I mean? Right, exactly. Like I would totally understand if it took 7 and I'd be fine with that. And
it would take me 4. It would take me 4 right now.
She's like, I'm a little slow. And I'm like, it would take me 4 hours.
Yeah.
And her heels, so far, her heels have been fantastic. So, there's one thing to just be like creatively good, but she's paid such attention,
Yeah.
Only one time yesterday, and this was the first time it happened, I said, you got to do this with your needle. You got to twist your machine. Like there's a special way. You got to hold it. And she's like, I'm doing it. And she kept kind of like not arguing, but at one point I was like, well, it looks like you got it all figured out.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's one time I had to do that with her. But other than that, and she immediately later was like, I'm sorry, I got in my head. She knows, it's like if you are an Olympian, right, and you're learning to, do these flips and everything, and then you fucking land weird and you cry for a minute. your coach comes over and says, like, is crying going to make you flip better? No, you're going to get up to own the moment, shake it off, fucking start flipping again.
Yeah.
Let's nail this. I'm here. Let's do it together.
Yeah. So impressive, though, because one, we all know so many people that could take that advice, Josh, and go fill up the sketchbook. And, I love that you make her or have her draw to completion the next tattoo she's about to do. Twice, did I hear you say?
And sometimes it depends on,
Well, regardless, that's fucking awesome. But most tattooers, especially new ones, can't actually replicate it in the skin as a tattoo, even if they got the dopest sketch of a skull or an eyeball. But then to go and actually just tattoo it and it look as good as you're drawing, if not better.
Right.
And that's what Nicole's doing. And
exactly.
That's real fucking impressive.
I think that's something that anybody that's listening, even no matter where you're at your skill level, but if you want to level up, do that. Start drawing to completion. So Hip and I don't know if you've been mad, but we've been following Fuck Your Critique, which I'm kind of fallen in love with that page. It's on Facebook.
Okay.
And when you start to look at everything through the eye of critiquing it, because they're asking for a critique,
right?
You really do see not only everybody's work, your own work different, right, Hip? When you're doing it now, you can kind of say, well, I would tell this person, oh, I really love the way you did these mushrooms coming off the side of this, but I don't know, why did you do this, right? And so you start making yourself step up. You're critiquing yourself more than you would have before. At least I am. At least I feel like that's right.
Yeah.
You don't want to tear yourself apart, but just being honest with yourself. Everybody's going to get better.
Yeah. But it's tough. If my mentor, my master was Joshua Carlton, it would be even harder for me to go into that critique because Joshua Carlton's going to be all the critique I need, right? But I love it that she's still doing it, but most people don't have Joshua Carlton right next to them to critique them, and then they use that group. She's got both, if she even needs that group, because she's got Josh.
Well, we can all learn. We can all learn from
That's
other,
right.
There's something to learn for sure.
Yeah.
But I think for her, I just think for her that if she can keep that momentum and that drive, I'm always showing her shitty tattoos, and I'll be like, don't get shook. The game has changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll show her like a shitty tattoo, and I kind of just remind her, like, because she's doing so well, it would be easy for her to rest on her laurels, and like she could take it down a couple notches and still have a great career.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't do that.
Right.
Do not fucking get comfortable,
Yeah.
And she, I'm not mean to her about it, but she wants that honesty. And I'm always like, did you learn something? Because this helps me too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm going to be coaching people, I need that feedback.
Yep.
And what better than to get the feedback from my wife, who knows better than anybody,
Yes. Yeah, dude. So cool. So cool. Talk about a whole new level of double dating when you hook up with your sister and Pete. Like now Nicole, like now you both are like tattoo couples,
Some serious tattoo family. Yeah, that's cool.
Right. Yes, man. My God. Yep. And, he touched on it, guys. But yeah, because Nicole just turned 40 and came out and did an amazing fucking eyeball tattoo that looks like Mr. Carlton did it himself. But I'm glad you touched on it because most people think, oh, you guys just been sitting in a bed of flowers and rainbows and the birds are chirping. You've had all this time to get her ready to do an amazing tattoo. But nope, he's been laid up, bedridden. She has had COVID, just came out of it. They were separated in the house, couldn't even see one another's faces, both going through hell, dark times.
Yeah.
And she comes out of that.
We would watch, like people have seminars like Carly Jarlier from France. Like we got it to where we would have our iPads. We'd watch something together. And we'd leave our phones on so we'd talk to each other. And we'd be like 3, 2, 1, play. So we could watch together. And that gave us like a sense of normalcy. Because I'm in bed fucking super sick from chemo. Thank God my kids are so awesome because I'm like, I need chicken soup, please. And that's usually Nikki. And she's in there being like, me too. So our kids luckily took care of us,
Jeez, man. Huge. And then she comes out recovering, her even, still having,
Yeah, she's
symptoms.
tested negative, obviously, and everything, but she kept her appointment. And I was like, she's surely not going to tattoo. And she's like, oh, hell yeah, I am. Fucking drew it and looked awesome. And I was like, man, that's going to be killer. I want that tattoo, So now I'm like, man, I'm thinking of all these tattoos that I can get for free.
Hey. Me too. Hey. Just kidding.
But yeah, beyond proud of her. Beyond proud of her.
Man. So good. So good, man. We're fucking all so lucky. So lucky. And even though we don't know what we want to be when we grow up, Hip, I think you're doing all right, sir.
I think you are too. And you, Josh.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think that for those of you that have gone through or are going through the tattoo burnout, hang in there.
Yeah.
Hang in there, man, guys, because it's so worth it. I know I talk about it a lot, but I just think it's so worth it. And like I don't know, I walk in my shop and I turn on the lights and I always take a moment to just look at the shop, right? To just take a moment and soak it in. Take a little time to be quiet.
Yeah.
And I just still feel that rush.
Yeah.
About like, this is my place to create.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that.
So beautiful. When you get a brand new plant or a flower and you take it home and all of a sudden you notice it's not growing right, it's dying, or it's just not growing right. Do we blame that plant or do we immediately check its environment? I don't know about you, but if the plant's not growing right, we might check, like, is it getting enough sunlight? Is it getting enough water, overwater? We check its environment before we just blame the plant, right? And the same with us. And if you're in a season and if you don't like how you're growing or don't feel like you're growing right, it's so important to check your environment, right? Who you associating with, who you surrounded. And again, these days, unlike any other time, you can have mentors like us online, virtually. Do not fall into the trap of, well, my environment sucks and my town sucks, my mentor sucks, this shop sucks. And if that's the case, what you gonna do about it? But in the midst of it, your environment, it doesn't have to be limited to where you're at in the flesh. We know we're all connected, and spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, you literally can change your circle of influence at any given time. And your outer world will align to the new inner world that's going on the inside of you. So be encouraged. What you want wants you. The lie of just falling into the trap of my deal sucks, my environment sucks, and therefore I suck. Now you're just blaming the plant. But again, what are you going to do about it? Anything and everything truly is possible for you. We believe that, don't we, boys?
We do.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely. More than ever, honestly.
Yeah.
I was telling Nikki this morning, I said, it's really cool because I have like a low grade feeling all of the time that's consistently there. I've never had this in my life. I've had ups and downs, but I always have a low grade, just kind of a wonderful feeling. It just kind of just ride. Do you remember I texted both of you guys yesterday and I'm like, I feel fantastic. It's like, it's such a wonderful feeling. Like I said, it's just chilling. Like it's just chilling there. Like life goes on, bad things are happening, but I just have this low grade, like good feeling.
Man,
and I will take that as long as I can, man.
Yeah.
And I would hope that anybody, I wish I knew why. I'd be like, here, guys, here's the secret. Take it.
Yeah, right.
Man. But it's such a good place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. We're lucky. We get to be a part of the rest of people's lives. We're tattooers. We're so fucking lucky, man.
The greatest job on the planet.
Jeez.
Easily, yep.
Jeez. I love both of you gentlemen.
Love you.
Hey, thanks for showing up today, and we get to serve the world from our table again. It's been absolutely huge. All of you listeners, we really can't thank you enough. For all your love, all your support, your engagement, your comments mean the world to us. And if you have topics or struggles you're going through or hopes, anything that you would love for the three of us to have a discussion about, we are always, always open. How can we serve you? Where are you at? What do you wish we'd be talking about today? Write us and let us know. Right? We'll serve it up to you with our whole heart, won't we, fellas?
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And friendly reminder, Mike has started a Tattoo Guardians podcast Instagram. All of you listeners, please go, make sure you're following the Guardians podcast Instagram. And yeah, we will continue to serve you with our whole hearts. Thank you all so much. Till next week. Have a great week, y'all.